All right, we are with new assistant coach Stephen Key, and the cliche, it's a small world, I think fits for you so perfectly. Can you kind of take us through just how you got to Indiana and kind of reunited with Stephanie White?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for everybody welcoming me here to Indiana. But yeah, it's been kind of a funny story, or kind of a full circle story. Just stayed in touch with Steph after we didn't work together since 2010. Just staying in touch, family, friends, and just how you doing, staying in basketball and everything else. Obviously, I was very aware of what she was doing and how the league was going. And then, funny story, she ran into Ann Donovan a couple of years ago doing the Big Ten tournament or something, and Ann asked about me and where I was, and so she put me in touch with her, and that story is a little bit of history, but it worked out, and I enjoyed my time in Connecticut. And then when Steph got the opportunity to be here, she reached out to me after Gail stepped down and decided she wanted to pursue other things, maybe in basketball, maybe not, and asked if I might be willing to join her here with the Fever, and I jumped at the chance because those 4 years working together with Steph, one as an assistant coach, and three as my assistant coach, as myself as the head coach, were perfect. We think basketball alike. We have the same attitude about it. Want to enjoy it. Think it's a fun game. Want to work hard and enjoy it at the same time. But just overall, just enjoyed working with her, and so I jumped at the chance to come here and join her now.
I think that's one of the great strengths of Steph. I mean, she knows the game so well. I spend a lot of time during the Pacer season. She works television with us. But the fact that she trusts both you and Gary Kloppenberg, two former head coaches that she really relies on for assistance, I think that's great.
Yeah, I actually think it's a good sign of a good head coach, somebody to bring people in who are going to make his or her system better, make the atmosphere better, create a culture that you want to be around, a culture that you want to develop, and anybody that comes new, including coaches or anybody else who come there, know how it is to work there. What it means to be there, not just a paycheck and not just a basketball game or whatever it's going to be, but you have an understanding amongst each other, and they feel that when they come through the door. And I think that's what you're touching on. I think that Steph trusts Gary and myself to have the same attitude, the same, let's say, culture that she wants to have there, and it makes the basketball part, which is difficult at times, makes it a little bit easier to convey that to the players.
You've of course been around the league, but for those Fever fans who may not be as familiar with you, what are you hoping to bring to this team?
I'm not really sure. Somebody asked me that question before. For me, I think what I'm looking to do is sit back, kind of see what's necessary. Obviously, they went very far last year, made it to Game 5. A bit unlucky, didn't make it, didn't win the championship. But, I think if I can come in and sit back a little bit and find a little bit of my way and my understanding, the way I view the game, and kind of help, maybe that will be something down the road that will help the team, help Steph in a way that they didn't have last year. Not better, not worse, but just my way. And if I can do that, I'll know more as the season goes along, kind of what assistant coach buttons to press, and try to help the players along, and as well as help Steph.
Stephen, we've asked a lot of the players and Klopp and Steph about this. You've been on the other bench for most of Tamika Catchings' career. What's it been like to coach her in practice? What have you seen from her that maybe you didn't know when you were coaching against her?
That's a great question, because the first thing that hit me was, obviously, on the other bench you say great talent, unbelievable basketball player, great energy, great work ethic and everything else. But then being here, being so close, and being in practice with her, you see the character behind it. And I think what makes her a special basketball player is her character. Obviously, you can be a great basketball player and not have the same character, or just be a character person and not as talented basketball player. But for me, having the combination of both those things makes it special. And I told her after I got here, I think it was day 2, I'm real happy that I got a chance to work with her in her last season, particularly. It's such close proximity to be a small part of her legendary career.
And I would guess as a coach, to have a player like her who kind of is almost like a player and a coach on the floor, that's a huge positive, a huge bonus.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is a veteran team from the standpoint of Tamika being around, and you talk about the culture, or I spoke about the culture before. That has a large part to do with her. But what I recognize right away is that this team holds each other responsible. And if it comes from the players first, or even last, or in the middle, it helps us coaching staff concentrate on other things that may or may not need our attention all the time, which is pretty good. And it starts with her. And I think over the years, it's rubbed off on a lot of other players here. And I look forward to working with that veteran attitude.
Stephen, from a league perspective, I've been around since 2000, year one of the Fever. You know, you go back to the early days with Teresa Witherspoon and Lisa Leslie, and to where we are now in 2016, year 20. Talent level probably at an all-time high. What's it like to coach in this league knowing there are so many great players? There's only 12 teams. There's only 11 other teams on a nightly basis. Tough to win, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It takes me back. My sister and cousin are season ticket holders for the Mystics. We live in that area, and I remember going to the games in the early stages when Nikki McRae was with the Mystics and all that other stuff. And the progress even then is phenomenal. Actually, it's funny because my sister played with Gail Gestincourse in college, and we were sitting stands, and I would sit there, and she's like, "Man, these women are playing basketball better than we ever did." And then flash forward now to 20 years, it's incomparable, you know what I mean? And for me to be a part of it, to coach world-class athletes in a sport that I love, just makes my job that much easier because they get it, they understand it, and sometimes it's up to them to get the job done. And I appreciate that because we can only help it so much from the bench. But it's always been a player sport, and it's incredible to see the things that they can do.
All right, well, this is new Fever assistant coach Stephen Key. Good luck this season.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephen.